What's cooking? Good looking. Let's 200 it up. Now, I'm a guy who loves Transformers, as you may have guessed, but I've never been a huge fan of friendly-faced franchise mascot Bumblebee. I mean, these days I don't mind him so much, and if he wanted to be mates, I'd be okay with it. But there was a time when I was so tired of him being front and center in every show and every movie and every toy line that I swore I was
never going to review Bumblebee ever again.
Why did I say it so weird? But that's the old me, baby. This is now a Bumblebee fan channel. I mean, whatever you feel about him, you can't say he hasn't pulled his weight. Would Transformers be the mixed media megalith it is today without him? I mean, probably. But he's definitely helped. So come with me now as we jam our faces deep into the Hive and get good and covered in bees. Cause honey, it's time for Brouhaha to ha. Now, because it's been such a long time since your humble beard boy paid the old yellow fella any real attention, we've missed almost a decade of blockbusters and cartoon shows and comics. Not to mention the third party boom and Big B's very own spotlight film. And you can bet he's racked up a fair bit of merch in the meantime. So today we're just gonna check out all the Bumblebees I've picked up along the way. And I don't want to hear, Thew, I can't believe you forgot the Bumblebee from blah 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 blah. Bro, do you know how many Bumblebees there are? This is just the ones I've got and haven't reviewed yet, okay? Okay, now let's blast on through like 2009 Thew. Your starter for 10 then is G1 classic Pretender Bumblebee, appearing today without his ridiculous blonde Gregory Peck Centurion Power Extreme cosplay. Now this tubby troublemaker, was the second ever toy of Bumblebee as actual Bumblebee, and it's a mildly cartoonified but mostly straight-laced Hasbro cover version of the original Takara boy with a certain graceless charm. There's not a lot to latch onto here, like he's a pretty basic little butterball with a bulbous belly, adorable beetle feet, and an oddly haunted-looking iron cyborg face, clamped rigorously into place above this disquieting necklace void. Beetle mode's far from flawless, but it's certainly a lovable enough barely finished botch job. But something about his weirdly knobbly tires and slightly too many exposed black struts gives him a certain rough-hewn quality that genuinely takes me right back to the late 80s, when 5-year-old me would have yeeted him down a gravel driveway and got him all scuffed up and loved him all the more for it. So it's not super remarkable on its own, but it shows that even back in '89, Bumblebee was already a rock star. Because nowadays we seem to get the same 8 to 15 characters every toy line, like a daytime radio playlist. But at this point, they were still throwing out new characters every year. And I think the classic Pretenders were the first time new versions of existing characters ever happened. Apart from Optimus, obviously. And B-Boy was right there to collect that check. Gangster recognize gangster. Meanwhile, back in this century, before his recent rebranding as the cuddliest amnesiac alien robot to ever not be voiced by Vin Diesel, Bayformer Bumblebee's shiny metal ass dragged us through 5 movies of unmitigated migraines before we were finally allowed to love again. Dunking on the movies, so original. But yes, Camaro Bumblebee was the star of screen and shelf for a full decade, and as such racked up an embarrassment of action figures. I mean, in the deluxe class alone, we're probably talking 50. So let's round it down to 2. Yes, indeed. Introducing what is for many the gold standard in mass-market movie bee design, 2010's Battle Blade Bumblebee, along with his always angry black-clad body double, Dark of the Moon's Cyberfire Bumblebee. Now, these are 2 of the better film-fashioned bee figures, and as far as I can be bothered to check. So let's see what they're saying and arbitrarily decide which one's the winner. Now, they're both, I'd say, above-average deluxes. They're not the same mold or anything, although they do obviously share broadly similar design DNA, and they each definitely represent a distinct take on the Bayformer aesthetic, which honestly does look a bit stodgy and archaic next to 2018's streamlined round boy. And clearly the main difference is their wildly contrasting looks, with Battleblade Bro serving a straight-laced screen-accurate deco accented by lush deep blue transparencies and a captivatingly clean head sculpt with a surprise mask reveal that I can't remember how it works. While in the red corner, Cyberfire Bumblebros repping the dark side hard rock henchman method with a bad bot attitude that'll cut your life into pieces. He's definitely ready to rage with his own personal collar-mounted thunderstorm and apocalyptic blood-red light piping like the fires of Hades itself. Smite piping! Yes, it's tacky, and yes, I adore it. Category is Juggalo Terminator. Size-wise then, Blade Boy definitely flexes his height and carries himself fairly fiercely, bulking out his visibly scrawny skeleton with some well-placed panels and conscientious kibble containment, while Cyberface is definitely a clumsier customer, coming off somewhat hunched and heavy-set and with no neck. Posability is a roughly even race, This with both Bees boasting ball socket shoulders, pain in the ass shin flaps, and a weird one-directional wrist wave that gives the arms a sort of strangely bowed look, like they're carrying two equally massive watermelons. I mean, the hands are basically useless. Like, I think they may even be the same component and neither toy uses it for the weapons. Like, Alfred Battleblade here comes preloaded with a pop-out bound war axe, which, is that the right way up? Along with a cubit-mounted wrist cannon which just straight up replaces the hand. While the old Cyberbully over here is packing the staple Dark of the Moon 3mm clip system and big stupid Mech Tech gun. Now, I always wanted to like Mech Tech, because the idea of spring-loaded transforming weapons is great, but it was just weird to me that you can't lock them down in the second mode, and like they never seem to gel super well with the actual robots. But I guess this is one of the cooler designs, like a big lumpy Sulaco pulse rifle with a precision muzzle that can temporarily creak open into a big-ass blaster. But with this kind of thing, I always imagine it at the concept stage looking like a miracle of invention, and the whole team's like, guys, this is the one. Everybody's getting laid. But in practice, it's just a big, boring grey plastic breeze block that he can't even really hold properly. It just like mounts uncomfortably on his sleeve. But hey man, 3mm clips. Fun to transform these both at once, because, yeah, they're both functionally the same, but you get to literally watch each guy's particular Bumblebee spice carry directly over into vehicle mode. I feel kind of dumb saying that, but that is how it feels. Like, the Blade Lad's car mode is a nigh-flawless, classy Camaro in showroom-ready colours with slick, sculpted exhausts, gorgeously vibrant blue windows, deep-set headlights, the full sponsor-approved Chevrolet Camaro experience. It's, like, genuinely impressive, and you can tell they were trying to make it the definitive movie Bumblebee that you could pick up for £12, and they pretty much smashed it. But check out Cyberfire B, man. It just crackles with a taurine-soaked, snake-biting black X Games energy that's kind of goofy, but legitimately badass. Rocking that sweet spoiler, extra-low bumper, inexplicable off-road window grills, and this iconic demonic deco. Demonic-onic. Sure, it's got a big dumb gun to deal with, but what, do you not have drawers? It's just endearingly wannabe hardcore and so gleefully evil. Gleevil. So out of these two, I don't know if there is a best one. Just depends what you want. Like, one's a polished prestige product and one's a sick, nasty badass. Soul Calibur and Mortal Kombat. Black Album and Kill 'Em All. Super Mario and Shadow the Hedgehog. What kind of life do you want to live? Anyway, the following few years of Movie B are a bit of a haze for me as the designs got weirder and the movies got dumber and my eyes glazed over and my brain started rejecting the details. But Camaro Bumblebee wasn't about to go out like that. And indeed, before his inevitable reformatting, he managed to squeak out one last great toy for his 10th anniversary, and that was 2 years ago. So yes, movie masterpiece Bumblebee rocked up in 2017 as a kind of final boss, last hurrah Bumblebee all-end-all, forged in dense-ass high-grade plastic and delicious die-cast decadence. And honestly, it's quite a thing. Like, it captures Bee's brand of spunky confidence in a way that I don't think any other toy ever really has. Busting out a level of effervescent expression and attention to detail that's gotta be tricky to pull off, considering the whole movie design ethic is just to set all the sliders to maximum jaggedy. Check it out, man. The torso's a pure Junkenstein sandwich with the trademark segmented fender and an impressive absence of backpack. Head's a fabulously faithful image of his awful shrunken freak show face. I'm just lost in the luminous baby blues. Seamless flip-out face mask and unexpected collarbones. What? Arms are wonderful, just packing in the atomic-ass automobile mess. Right down to his actual real boy hands with all flexible fingers and thumbs for smashing that like button, hint. Along with odd but appreciated double elbows. Plus a handy hand swap bang-on cannon. Looks like the legs have finally learned to contain themselves. Like the car kibble collapses cozily into these coherent calf muscles. Frontages are fully fleshed out and the design of the wheel ankle chunks is pure sorcery. That is, the design's good, but in reality they just flop to bits all the time. This is a heavy-ass toy and a lot of the balancing and actually staying upright relies loads on this one tiny baby clip me do, and it is not super strong. Not to say that ruins it by any means. It's still definitely a quality adult collectible. It's tons of fun to mess with, design's great, shit's tight. Something does feel a bit weird about the colours though. Like, I'm sure they went to great lengths to ensure it's as close to the movie as could humanly be achieved. But I don't know, somehow I got used to a creamier, orangier Bumblebee blend. Plus, the darks are way too dark. Like, this extreme gunmetal grey looks banging on its own, but next to the lemony yellow, it's got me reaching for the contrast button. So yeah, straight in the bin. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, it's an incredibly logical transformation and complex in a forgiving kind of way, and it's totally a two-parter. Like, it's literally two halves lashed together with a stick. And I'm mostly feeling the alt mode, mostly. It does definitely have that masterpiece gravitas. It's heroically heavy, details are on point, and it commendably captures that on-screen feel. Maybe it is the colours, but it is sort of a flaky bugger. Like, the doors don't always want to behave themselves, and the bloody hood keeps flopping about. And I don't know if it's just a bugbear that I have with masterpieces in general, but they just don't really inspire me. I mean, I get it, I respect them, but you know me, I like a toy with quirks. I don't mind a gimmick. I like to enjoy my life, you know? And like, all I can really do with a masterpiece is go, oh, look, that's good, innit? Sometimes I even get to go, oh, it's not that good, really. Could be better. You know? Give me something. Putting my damage aside, this seriously could be the ultimate movie B for the ages. But however ultimate it may seem, it can never truly claim to be the ultimate Bumblebee. For there is another. An ultimate Bumblebee, more ultimate than any other Bumblebee could ever Bumblebee. I speak, of course, of the ultimate in Bumblebees, Battle Ops Bumblebee. Bless my bath! So this largest of lads landed in the Transformers line from 2010, known anecdotally as Transformers 2010. And it's slightly spectacular. Now at first, this behemoth seems a bit like a leader class toy. It's about the right size and it's loaded with knickknacks, but it's not one really. In fact, it's so overblown and bombastic, it basically exists outside the regular Transformers line and feels more like a must-have Christmas gift party in a box type situation. It's not leader class or commander class, it's oh please mom class. So Transformers Battle Ops Bumblebee, or T-Bob, is a man who's all about the impact. Like at this scale, everything feels magnified. Details are suddenly in sharp focus, like the head sculpt brings a kind of clarity that was perhaps missing in the other dudes. Plus his eyes light up, brilliant. And all the cogs and cyber mess in his arms and robo-groin doesn't look quite such a garbled mess anymore. By the way, that license plate, does that mean anything? Is that a gag? Or is it just incidentally the number of the car they used in the film and now they've got to print it on all the Bumblebee shit? Anyway, legs are respectably supportive, rooted on some sweet feet with tilty toes and independent ankle tendrils. Bit weird in the pelvicular region though, like his hips are plugged into these peculiar rubber pistons. Plus his bumble knees are so weirdly high up that they squish his thighs into these tiny little chunks about a third the length of his thunderous shins. Stick that up your golden ratio. Arms are exactly as imbalanced but in a wildly different way. Like the left one's a pretty regular arm, showcasing some rambunctious ratcheting and the same frustrating mono-hinge hand wave as guys a third his size, while the other one's kind of sketchy as to whether it even is an arm. Like it looks like one, but it sure don't walk like one. The elbow only works when you crank the shoulder and the whole thing noisily transformographizes into blasty mode. And yeah, that's great fun, but it'd be nice if you could maybe switch it off. Like I love these shoulder cannons and the blue streak realness they provide, but they're optional, you can put them away. What am I gonna do with this weird wilted arm and its strange springy see-through claw fingers? Can't you just be normal? But anyway, as I'm sure you've twigged, this is one loud-ass rat bag. You basically can't look at it without it dropping some kind of dumb mechanical catchphrase. He's just walking. Honestly though, I kind of love that. That's just what I like about this thing, is it's brazen ridiculous and all singing, all dancing showboat spectacle. I mean, its sheer monstrousness already feels like enough. It doesn't have to try super hard, but it does anyway. Respect. Transformation's somewhat boiled down, but not overly baby time. You do still have to concentrate. Those massive chunks feel great after all the other fiddly buggers. And this colossal Camaro mode is a pure power move. I mean, nothing makes you feel like a kid again, like a giant plastic toy car that you have to hold in both hands. This thing's kind of automatically a winner, mostly by virtue of already being quite a cool car. But also it's a really, really unreasonably enormous cool car. There's just an immediacy to it that only comes through sheer size, but also it actually does stuff. Like you can pop the shoulder cannons out on top of the hood. It's got rubber tires, I think, or at least sufficiently squishy plastic tires. Headlights and horns and engine noises and secret retro fan service Easter eggs. It's just a party on four wheels, baby. Battle Ops B really is from another planet, man. Sure, it's a little goofy and perhaps doesn't check all the boxes, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the dream. And it seems Takara would agree with me, seeing as they actually released this thing as a masterpiece. The nerve. Yes, indeed, Masterpiece T-Bomb truly do be the OG MVP MPM BBB. Anyway, who else could follow this but 2009 Legends Bumblebee? Clearly he's nowhere near as mega, but he's still Bumblebee. He's valid, he's fun, he's direct, he's no trouble. Alright, that's it, that's him done. Just wanted to get him on the docket. But enough already, should we move on from the movies, collectively, in life? Now, if there's one thing we've learned about Transformers, it's that we're never too far away from a G1 reboot. And true to form, B's been a steady presence in the Generations line since the time when it wasn't even called Generations yet. So let's get a loving spoonful of this Legends class lump lad from Titan's Return. Now, I'm not here to say this is the best Generations one or anything. In fact, it's at best a generally acceptable 3 out of 5 baby chonk. Like, it's balancing some solid articulation and an absolutely perfect head sculpt against this awkward sticky outy shoulder kibble. And these legs are absolute arseholes to fold up. Car modes are functional and feisty, not Volkswagen. Volkswagen. I'm definitely into its hefting super mini vibes, and it even seats a Titan Master. Remember them? But I don't know if I'm doing this wrong, but the cockpit's an absolute faff. Like, you gotta half transform his entire ass end just to get the guy in there. And I wonder what this means. 100 Stra. Is that like a Diaclone Joustra reference? But while this certainly isn't the best or most impressive modern retro B, it does feel refreshing to me. Because, like, he's not trying to be the big shot main cast muscle car man or even go super hard on the tune accuracy. He's just a decent little pocket money toy, and a real nice reminder of Bumblebee's long neglected role as one of the mini-bots. Because with all his latter-day status, it's kind of easy to forget that chapter of his life when he used to just hang out on your bedroom shelf with Brawn and Sea Spray in them and just be small. See, sometimes it's healthy to remember it's not all about you. And indeed, it's not all about nostalgia. There's been swarms of Bumblebee action elsewhere, so let's dive into the Hive. Next up, let's sneak a peek at the recent Robots in Disguise thing, or RID 15, which is apparently a competent and colourful post-Prime adventure show that I couldn't be bothered to watch. That's my shtick. And this is Warrior Class Night Strike Bumblebee, mixing up the palette with some surprise turquoise. I actually love this take on the old B-Boss. I'm into his proud chest-out, shoulders-up vigorousness, head sporting a stinking smirk and a carefree space cowboy coif, and I love his semi-see-through Skeletor sword. It's maybe not the best executed boy though, like there's a little more visible hollowness than I'd hope for. And while I do dig his massive knee-high kinky boots, they're a little heavy on the extras. Still, I'm broadly on board. I'm not out here looking for trouble, and neither's he. Truce? Truce. Transformation's nice and uncomplicated, so it's kind of shocking how difficult it is to get it all to behave itself. That door is not into it. But the car mode's kind of killer, man. It's got a neat sort of CG-rendered cyber vibe, and I love how much of it is hood. Deco got me quaking and all, like the windows are just stark black, headlights are looking mean in aquamarine. I dig the single stripe style and the sideburn tattoos. Same energy. So yeah, man, Night Strike B is kicking ass in the Warrior class. Anyway, as is the want of many a toy line, as RID rolled on, it started experimenting with wacky gimmicks, and it even caught a wicked contact buzz off Combiner Wars with its own sketchy gestalts, and the Crash Combiner subline of super simplistic car former duos you can whack into each other to spring load up a bigger bot, which certainly turned out some shaky results, but it was at least slightly more creative than just doing a discount Autobot Megazord. So yeah, say hi to Combiner Force Bumblebee and his Crash Compadre Sideswipe, looking as they are impossibly compromised in these interesting individual robot modes, which are so paltry and underplayed they almost come off like RPMs, or like novelty Transformer-themed tombstones. I mean, granted, the robot forms are kinda tertiary, considering the point of these is that they're cars and they do the crash thing, but the car modes are rubbish. Every mode is rubbish. I mean, the cars are all gummed up with fugly Combiner crust, and the Combiner... Come on, look at it. It's just a lanky, tragic string bean of a thing with, like, elbows. But fundamentally, what's the big deal? Is this a new problem? At its core, it's just a 2-pack of cheeky little robo-friends who sacrifice everything for this one moment of fun. And it is fun, so mission accomplished? Are they really that bad? Are they really that different to a group like your precious G1 Stunticons? Yes. Real talk, this is terrible. It's a nice idea. I love a bit of springy boing boing. But this, in the parlance of our times, ain't it chief? Also, the combined mode's name is Beeside. What is that, B-side? I mean, I get it, Bumblebee, side swipe, but like, is that a cassette tape joke? Come on, the kids this is for ain't gonna know what a tape is. Me personally, I would've called it bum wipe. So that wasn't great, but we can go lower, because Titan Changer Bumblebee exists. Oh boy. Now this big bumble bellend comes straight from the maximum size minimum effort genre of nasty cheapo trash that had barely passed for a bubble bath, and it's not alright. This is gonna be one of the most cursed of all robot modes. I mean, it does look like Bumblebee. It's got the head and the chest thing, but it's all kind of half focused, like he's made out of candle wax and partially melted, and he's hollower than friggin' invisible Kevin Bacon. There's no soul. He sees no love. He shakes tiny fists at skies above. Look at these withered little corpse hands. I mean, I'm amazed he even has hands, but they're just the wrong size to even hold anything. The arms are ball jointed, which is something, but the shoulders are so malformed they can barely even manage a T-pose. And girl, you must be the name of a popular building brick toy, because 3/4 of you is leg. Must admit, there is something kinda neat about the alt mode though. Like, it transforms in 5 seconds and it feels really good when you slam the legs closed. Oh yeah. But I don't know, man, I feel like the simplicity works in its favour in this mode. Maybe it's because it's more compact, it's just pleasingly streamlined and oh wait. Hello! Honestly, I don't know if Transformers get more not gooder than this. I mean, Bumwipe isn't great, but at least he's got parts, mechanisms, something. This is a shell. Barely even a shell. It's more like a bowl, really. Bumblebees. Look, I get the appeal of simplistic toys. The kids love them. I love them when they're done right, but this is so extreme on the size to quality ratio. Look, you can basically see through it. £23 these are. But maybe it's dishonest of me to put this frickin' cryptid in my video, because Robots in Disguise was alright, man. I love Blastwave and Storm Shot and friggin' Thunderhoof rules. And come on, every toy line puts out its share of bullshit. In fact, RID did even deliver on a huge super fun electro voice Bumblebee. But honestly, this one's way better for easy YouTube laughs. Look at this mess. Rubbish. Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, seriously. What a bunch of poopy willy bum bum. Hasbro. Anyway, while all that was going on, the third-party scene even turned out a couple of unlicensed bumblebees. Sorry, honey-producing communal invertebrates. I do find myself largely tiring of the whole third-party thing. Like, I appreciate the talent and the work these people do, but I'm so done with the snotty collector posturing, and more I struggle to morally reconcile the flagrant appropriation of Hasbro character designs. Like, I'm aware that legally it's sort of fine somehow. Feel free to tell me I'm a clueless, blinkered wrong brain, but I've grown quite wary. I have, however, found a degree of glee in the smaller stuff, like Iron Factory, DX9 War in Pocket, and these two absolute smashers from Mech Planet. So this friendly little custard thumb is from the Mech Planet G1 style Hot Soldiers. Yes, that's what they're really called, and yes, his name really is Big Yellow Bee. And the Hot Soldiers have had a pretty strong run so far. Like, their Soundwave kicks ass, and the rest of the gang look pretty sweet too. So much so that his yellow bigness here actually appears to be one of the weaker ones. Not that he's a bad Yellow Bee, he's actually extraordinarily adorable. Extra-dorblinary? Just that he's so thoroughly dominated by this absurd flabdomen. And I love me a chonky bot, but this is just so weirdly long, and it's so much of him, you know? I gotta give him a fair shot though, and aside from the graceless paunch, he's a respectable contender for the tiny weight title. Head's a belter, peak performance posing, and he's styling pretty tight with his blue accents and VW slippers. He's just a touch rotund. But aren't we all? I actually love the alt mode though. It's just got that bright, bouncy roundness that seems to hit all the right bumble beats. Like, it's got the roundness and the solid wheels to echo that early G1 vibe, and its squished up styles and curvy blue windows bring out a bit of the cartoon Luke. It's even bringing bonus weapon storage and a choice of 2 different bumble bums. So the Beetle mode is pretty great, and to be fair, it is mostly down to his rounded humpitude. But at what cost? About 15 quid? Time now to get good and steamy with Mech Planet Centurion. Centurion. Nothing like a generic-ass third-party white label name, is there? Centurion, Supreme Commander, Giant. Keeps him out of trouble, doesn't it? Now, this little punk of steam rolled out last year as an unofficial attempt to bring plastic presents to Bumblebee's design from Hearts of Steel, or Hose, which was a fun little questionably canonical dalliance in the early days of IDW. Basically, what if Transformers, but steampunk? With like all biplane Decepticons and John Henry and Mark Twain? What? But check this out, in the meantime, they've retconned the whole Hose thing so that now, rather than just being a daft little design-heavy experimental aside, it does actually take place in the real timeline, and that Bumblebee was in fact not Bumblebee, but was a separate character called, and I can't believe you don't know this, Centurion. What? Oh my god, please let me write Spotlight Director Gremlin. Anyway, the Centurion figure is in fact extremely good. Like, he more or less passes for a straight up legit deluxe size Robo-Boy. Easily equaling any official Ombre in articulation, design, detail, execution. It's all extremely impressive. Plastic does feel a smidge soft, which makes some of his joints seem a bit low impact. But hey man, I'll take it. So while I am particularly prone these days to naughty finger-wagging 3P companies for borrowing designs from IDW and Hasbro, this one doesn't smart so much because, come on, they weren't using it. It's been 13 years, and this really is a superb job. It just feels so cool to finally hold a figure of this tubby little train lad and witness firsthand his bodacious boiler belly, second in snowplow shoes, variable funnel shoulders, massive mallet and all intricate cogs and visible steam circuit. Plus, how are you going to be mad at that noggin with its bang-on bumble mush and, like, valve horns? This is riveting. Transformation's an interesting pain in the ass. Like, it pulls some properly unexpected moves, but it does all come together and it gives you that moment where you're like, yes. Partly due to the fact that you're pretty much on your own, because these instructions are absolute guff. Like, they miss about 2/3 of the stages, and what there is incomprehensible. Turn the back of a spot up? Excuse me? But it all eventually compacts down and cocoons up into this awesome old-timey alt mode. Or alt-timey old mode. Check this thing out, man. It's truly the sweetest Steam Boy. So it's some kind of fanciful, fictional early Steam loco, which I assume isn't based on a particular one. More a general mishmash of steam engine ideas playfully plugged into each other. Like, would a tiny little workhorse engine like this have a snowplow? Would any engine have 2 funnels? Do I give a shit? No. This is such a trip, man. It's totally got the Bumblebee vibe with the huge rounded yellow hump and the actual black and yellow bee stripes. And the logo itself is so lovingly realised. Like, every surface is just rivets and old world industrial charm. And I weirdly love this little skirt panel that divides the wheels from the boiler. I don't know, it just gives it some heft and definition while totally maintaining the cute chunk factor. Like, it's so round and lovable, it just makes me smile every time. I almost half expect it to sprout a cheeky human face and terrify me into behaving myself. But yes, Mech Planet Centurion is an absolute smasher. He's one of the branch of third-party figures that I'm actually 100% okay with, because he definitely feels like he's made with love and a genuine desire to bring that design off the page and into the physical world. Because Hasbro didn't do one, and they're probably not gonna. So I can't be mad at Mech Planet for making their own, because now there is one. And that's all the third-party Bumblebees for now. Thanks for watching, chuck us a quick thumb, and I'll see you next time. Which is now. Yes, indeed, back to the legitosphere, and let's hit up some kid-focused Bumblebabies for the young'uns. As if kids play with toys anymore. They've all got smartphones. Anyway, our next B comes from the Rescue Bots Rescan series, which also gave the world surprise Thew fave Moorbot. And he's a nice play school plate of good old harmless giggles. Looking well CBeebies with the sweetest keen-eyed friend face and big silver silly stompy boots. So there's almost no articulation on the go, but I mean, I didn't care about that when I was 3. He just goes, way. And as you may have clocked, what he turns into is not a car. Re-scandalous. But yeah, he just flips up into this kind of fancy sci-fi fly guy with a lush sky blue canopy and all jet boosters and VTOLs, like a Volkswagen B-Tol. Fancy that, a Bumblebee that can actually buzz around. It's a bit of a weird one though, because part of why I found Moorbot so cool was that he could just transform instantly with no effort, but this one seems to get hung up on its own bits and starts making all these worrisome snap sounds that put me right on edge. It just doesn't have that same easy flow. Like, he only does one thing and he kind of sucks at it. Same. But I mean, he's still cute, and the flight mode's a real treat. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it in Transformers. The closest I can think of is like Generation Sandstorm, and even then, not really. So it's at least kind of unique. There's value to that, right? Tell you what is weird though, is the profoundly condescending box blurb. Pretend to help Bumblebee soar to the rescue. No. Do what I want. Look, I know it's for very young kids, but come on. You're really out here explaining the concept of play. Don't pay any attention, kids. You take this thing and yeet it down all the gravel driveways you want, okay? Probably just the one, though. More recent guff now from Transformers Cyberverse. A fairly charming bite-sized entry-level reboot, which, shockingly, I have watched. I know! Mostly because at the time I jumped on, there were only 10 very short episodes, so I could blow through them in 2 hours. And I kind of love it, man. Like, it's not super serious. I love how it brings in elements of established Transformers lore and has fun with them for 10 minutes at a time. Like an easy mode Transformers starter pack. Is that me? That is me! Jeez, at least tag us next time. So, your B for the C-verse is Ultra Class Action Attacker Bumblebee. Here showcasing his semi-stunning new vehicle mode. I guess they've kinda switched it up. It's definitely a smoother mover than other recent Beamobiles. It's got that Cyberfire spoiler and the low-ass bumper, and I definitely appreciate the honeycomb grille, cause B's, right? And it is nice to be introduced to this B iteration as a mega-sized monster motor from the get-go, but it does feel a smidge insubstantial and thin-skinned. And what is going on with that baby auto badge? Come on, man, you got all this room. But as an action attacker, he is of course obliged to attack some action. Bam! Yes, indeed, this is Hive Swarm mode, because bees, right? And the guns don't fire or anything, or even look super good, but they at least appear slightly sweary, and there's certainly something really satisfying about that gimmick. Like, you get so much action and so much noise for so little input. Robot mode's basically useless though. It's like a mashup of all the worst bits of those RID figures. Posability's on a level with this noodly knobhead. These elbows are not real elbows. These elbows are a myth. And he's got the same sort of tombstone-y vibe as those crash combiners, but at this scale it's more like a massive relief sculpture, plus the mountain they carved it out of. To its credit, I guess the top 3/8 of it are alright. I do like his chunky shoulders, and the cheeky chap head sculpt definitely gets a B+, but man, it's such a plank. Look, the character design is not the problem here. I love the Cyberverse look. It's dynamic and fresh, and it does a great job blending design elements from basically every era. But it does seem bold to have two separate characters doing the Iron Man pose in the title sequence when none of the toys can move for toffee. Is that fair? Probably not. But come on, baby, we're almost there. Which just about brings us bang up to date and 2 waves late. And we'll finish off today with a big old bumble bunch from the Round Boys' eponymous movie, which proved a comfortingly breezy pre-boot. And indeed, Bumblebutt himself was given a full-body makeover with a cuddlier new chassis, that classic Volkswagen vehicle mode, and a squishy core of warm nougaty feels, which obviously means loads of new toys! That being said, there hasn't been that much of a Bumblebee toy line in the traditional Deluxe Voyager Leader sense. So we'll first have a hop over to the Studio series, which has been pretty good to me so far, but that might just be because I've managed to avoid all the thunkers. So yes, this is Studio Series Bumblebee from the new movie, and it does seem to wanna be a solid figure. Like, it's a neat design, it's crazy poseable, and it comes over so bright and bouncy in this lush buttery tone with these perky platinum highlights, packing a clip-on Gypsy Danger sword and a full forearm firearm. And like, there's some decent detailing and design flourishes that do, for the most part, make it feel like a premium experience, but it's all a bit skin deep. You know me, I can deal with an imperfection or two, but this thing's just lousy with them. Like, the head's pretty heavily hampered by that back flap jabbing him in the nape. He's got this pop-off, swap-off face mask thing that's just utterly unworkable. Machine guns coming apart at the seams, so it never really locks on. All of which I could probably let slide if it weren't for the bloody backpack. Look, I get the need to do the whole backpack thing. It's gotta go somewhere, right? But come on, this is a push. Pretty much all the car parts are just concertinaed up back there, apart from the fug-looking knee kibble. In fact, I think the only car parts that are where they need to be are the boob lights. Even that chest hood's a fake out, which, again, I get it. But come on. That's a whole ass car folded up back there. Look, I appreciate the 2018 screen model's mighty tight, which has got to present an absolute nightmare mode challenge to get right as a deluxe. But I don't know, spread it out. Plus the door wings, he didn't even have those. In fact, I think I remember hearing that all the Bumblebee movie toys were based off unfinished concept art, which, citation needed, but yikes. I don't know though, it does have a certain naivety to it. It reminds me of a fan art from 2007, like, what if Bayverse Bumblebee was a beetle? A Bombay beetle? But I'm afraid this has all been sidestepping the inevitable size gripe. It's just so tidgy. And yes, it's fairly complex, the plastic's good, parts count is respectable, and yes, it's in scale. Noted, Studio Series, well done. But for £26, it's literally the size of a Beast Wars basic. Am I missing the point here? Help me out. I don't want to be this guy. But you know that feeling when you start to suspect they're taking the piss? transformation's a bit of a pain in the bumbleballs. It is well thought out for what it's working with, but the panels only tab in when they feel like it, and they frequently do not feel like it. And this vintage 80s Beetle mode is so frustratingly close to perfect. I mean, it's not. It's really not. But here's the thing, I'm the son of a mechanic and a hippie. The Volkswagen Beetle has always been my favourite car, so a transformer of it should be an easy win, but it just won't. Like, the idea's good, and the intent and the detail's great, all of that. But its whole integrity relies on these many roof panels staying shut, and that ain't happening, so it looks bad and it feels bad. And I don't want to be this guy. It's just giving me all the wrong emojis. Come on, you're making me do pained clickbait man face. Although it does have a certain charm if you squint, and you can handle the smallness. Confirmed for what she said. Anywho, back in the B-box, there's a respectably well-done mini diorama of Charlie's garage, which does make a nice vacay from the usual concrete and fire. These are from two different toys. I love that they decided to focus on the movie's emotional core and bringing out those heartfelt memories of laughter and bonding and sobbing. And some say, if you listen closely, you can still hear it playing the Smiths. Is it Charlie's garage or Charlie's garage? Charlie's car hole? Alright, let's pump the hate brakes a bit with Energon Igniter Bumblebee. Now this beaniest of babies is in fact the smaller of two Ignitey bees, weighing in at roughly Legion or Legends class? Legions? Either way, he's definitely walking in leg first with fierce foxy form and gigantic Volkswagen shins. Volkswag shins. He's definitely not the best balanced boy with so much leg on the go. But unlike some people, it actually works. Because the legs are actually good. They've got hips and knees and toes and a bonus hand Dayhan Planet Terror kneecap murder cannon, but that does mean the entire bod section ends up crammed into about a fingertip's worth of space, and even so it still jams in some sweet silvery paint apps, tons of torso details, eyes and engine blocks and that, and the single slab body bra totally gives him that distinctive heroic Autobot hood chest motif. He's also got one of those horribly addictive transformations that you can't just do once. You just gotta kind of absent-mindedly mess with it for a bit, no pressure. He's kind of like one of them fidget boxes, and I love how he's so skinny and wiry in robot mode, but folds up into such a lump. Don't know if there's even anything to say about it. He just is what it looks like. Not sure if the hood folds up perfectly, but it's not even worth the energy to get mad about it. And check this out, the little leg cannon's actually a socket where you can plug in some kind of motor gizmo and make him rocket off, so pretty cool he didn't come with one. I mean, I can take it or leave it, and it's kind of nice to know that he's at least compatible with the motor thing, but I ain't got one, have I? I feel like I'm only getting half the picture here. Like a throttle bot without the throttle. Throttle sold separately. Still though, I almost resent how much I like this. I kind of have a funny thing with the smaller size classes where I don't tend to talk about them that much, because I assume they're seen as the cheapo crap ones that only tiny babies and casuals like. But like, this thing gives you so much transformery fun per square inch. Bumblebee just seems to make more sense in fun size. Not saying it's better than the Studio Series one, but I do like it more. Last but by no means lavishest then is Movie 6's obligatory big stupid noisemaker, Pistons Out for Power Charge Bumblebee. Now this big bloatster is your sort of spiritual successor to Battle Ops B, albeit with a bit of a cost-savvy flavy. Like, he's alright on a surface level, bringing the big boy bombast, basic but functional posing, and he does pull off a smattering of action schmaltz such as the slidey knife and the cheek-activated battle mask, but all the lighty-uppy electro stuff comes off a bit bargain bin. Because check it out, you control it by spinning this huge chest spark beach ball dealio, and he does seem to have packed a decent playlist, like the sitcom laugh, hair metal scream, air horns? That's new. And a fair amount of different music stings and that, but like, I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know how to make it do the different ones. You just end up fruitlessly spinning the wheel until it arbitrarily decides to play the power down sound. Plus, if you so much as nudge the back panel, it thinks it's transformed and starts doing car noises. Even the LEDs sort of awkwardly don't line up with the headlights. This makes it feel kind of inappropriately romantic. Not to get too hung up on the silly electro gimmick, but that's pretty much all he's got. Apart from that, he's just a kind of oddly unfulfilling jumbo action figure that only really 2/3 looks like Bumblebee. Da-na-na. 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 Da-na. I'm gonna die alone. transformation's predictably equally unsatisfying. It's all overwrought feet and clashing panels. But to be fair, the vehicle mode gets me. Massive yellow beetle, go on then. So I can't 100% love it, because although it's big and impressive and whoa, look at that, it's just still got that weird empty shell quality that always used to put me off the Highway Haunter. And even now it's still weird about the beepy glowy stuff. Like, I enjoy that you can roll them around and make the ball do the thing, but it's only got like 2 boring engine zooms. No songs or honks or radio stuff, and the lights are like underneath. That's not fun.
Oh, the underwhelming electronic doody-doo. What a treat.
What else is weird is it's just got the one wing mirror, and at first that totally had me scratching around to see where the other one had popped off to, but turns out VW Beetles did in fact just have the one wing mirror, which I didn't know that. Then you look at the others and you're like, oh yeah, look at that, we're laughing and learning. Mainly learning. So I kind of feel like they dropped the ball with the Bumblebee toys, or at least fumbled it. Give it a good old fumblebee. Like, the big spectacular one for kids is a bit boring. The fancy expensive one for grown-ups is well flaky. And I can't speak for the Masterpiece because I ain't got one. But for me, I'm Team Energon Igniter all the way. I don't know what to tell you, it's the only one that makes me uncomplicatedly happy. And isn't that awful? But hey, at least the movie was good. Alright, excellent Brouhaha. I think that was a suitable doppelcentenary, right? I hope it's been enjoyable, yet informative, artistic, yet accessible to a wide audience. And I hope you didn't hate it, because I respect you. And I'm never going to announce that I'm never going to review Bumblebee ever again, ever again! We made it! 200, baby! Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and thank you for your support. Big cheers to everyone who donated a bee to the cause. That's Andy at the Forge, Danny for this one, Where's Leslie, Viv, thanks, me brother, Kevin from New Jersey, Carmagus Legend, The Vacuuminator, and Paragon Refugee. You're all so kind to me. Also, huge thanks to this week's random patron, Zachary Blader. Okay, that's the end. Bye, love you.
Be sure to subscribe for more Thew's awesome Transformers reviews. Limited appeal, keeping it real.